Welcome back to the GP4 OC. We're here for the 2020 season, the final season of the current OC before we head into the fantasy era. I am your OC commentator George, as normal, back again for the Australian Grand Prix, the first round of the season, the first of 8 tracks that have been on the OC calendar every season, and the first of 11 tracks that have been on the OC calendar that didn't feature in the real-life F1 season because of something called COVID. Of course, lap record set by Warner from 2017 at 123.563, 58 laps, circuit length of 5.303 kilometers, 16 corners. Of course, last season the race was won by Franco Gamba, and it was a great start to the season for him, which unfortunately didn't get a lot better than that, really. Well, certainly not when you lead the championship after the first race. Previous 5 winners here, being of course Gamba winning last season, Franco Lopez winning the season before, Omar Carr 2017, Warner 2016, and Joseph 2015. Of course, this season everyone will be trying to get the crown off of Franco Lopez, who dominated last season, and it nearly looked like at one point that he might throw it away, but he didn't in the end. And so the tyres we'll be using for this race will be the soft tyres, and in practice it was actually Miguel Gal fastest ahead of Franco Lopez, Carr, Gamba and George Roque in the Racing Point, completing the top 5. The rest of the order is on screen there. Of course, a number of new drivers in this season, a number of drivers moving teams as well. So let's take a look at the starting grid for Australia, and on the front row it is Franco Lopez starting off where he left off by taking pole position here, with Franco Gamba alongside him in second place. On row 2 of the grid we have Omar Carr for Mercedes and Miguel Gal for Red Bull. Row 3 we have Roberto Gamba, one of the surprise drivers, moving to Ferrari for this season, with Ronan Moichin alongside him in 6th. On row 4 is the 2 McLarens of Kirospa de Rosa and Joseph Williams, moving back to McLaren from Ferrari. On row 5 of the grid we have George Roque for Racing Point and Evan Byrne 10th for Renault, those two drivers staying at their respective seats. Row 6 we have David Kupok for the now renamed AlphaTauri team, with Laura Chung alongside him. And on row 7 of the grid we have Andrea Federi for Alfa Romeo and Daniel Fraser making his OC debut, and a good start in qualifying in 14th position. Jake Galloway 15th for Renault on his debut, ahead of Felix Sontag in 16th to get into Q2. On row 9 of the grid we have the 2 Brazilians, Gabriel Gomez for Alfa Romeo and Dudu Kirby, the GP2 champion, getting promoted up to drive in the top tier. Chris Chatfield, who moved to AlphaTauri from Haas in 19th, with Rosetta Martinez alongside him. And on the final row of the grid we have the 2 other new debuts, Amelia Wilson for Manor and Jamie Griffiths for Williams. So that is the grid for the first race of the season, and it will be a dry race, no chance of rain. So let's get this show on the road. So it's going to be a big question: can Mercedes win this race, or can Red Bull win it again like they did last season? It's going to be a very interesting dash to the first quarter. Of course, Franco Gamba, who won last season. 5 lights are coming on for the first race of 2020, and the 2020 season is now underway, and Franco Lopez gets a pretty decent launch, looks like, off the line, and Gamba's not got a particularly great start, but he's still in second position comfortably at the moment, as Lopez will take the lead into turn 1. Gamba goes slowly, and Carr goes around the outside. Carr takes second position. What a start that Carr's made, and Gamba might even be under pressure from the Ferrari behind of Roberto Gamba. His cousin might even overtake him, coming through into turn 3, and is Roberto Gamba going to go around the outside of Franco, and he is. And Roberto Gamba, what a start he's made in the Ferrari, and Franco Gamba, that's not worked out for him well at all. And looking through the rest of the order, there's Gamba 5th, and there's Gal, Moichin who's in 6th, Kupok, Roque who's moved over position, Willows and De Rosso, who I think have both dropped positions. They've not made a good start. And Evan Byrne, who we're pretty sure is actually in 10th position. He's had an awful start. He's dropped way down the order. Meanwhile, Franco Gamba trying to attack his cousin for 3rd position already, and unable to make it stick there. But look at the Mercedes, they're already ahead comfortably, and we haven't even got halfway through the first lap. But this is the start from Roberto Gamba in the Ferrari. Didn't originally get a great start, actually. Moichin did peak ahead, but Gamba then got back ahead, and then coming through the first corner, there was Moichin. He actually locked up a bit there. Goes past Gal, does Roberto Gamba, then gets a good run around the outside of Gamba onto the back straight here. Onto the second straight, I should say, and it's side by side between the two, and Gamba just gets a better run. Roberto Gamba gets a better run around the outside and takes a position. So that's exactly the start that he would have wanted, and not the start that Franco Gamba would have wanted. So one Gamba moves up 2 positions, the other Gamba loses 2. Now this is Evan Byrne, who's started 10th, and look at the start there that David Kupok gets. Absolutely launches through the middle. Byrne gets swamped by Laura Chung as well, and so already losing 2 positions off the line. And then heading towards the first corner, there's Federi round the outside, so he's down to 13th by the first corner. I think just about 40. So there goes actually, I think that was Gomez, I think. No, Gomez was there. I think it was actually Daniel Fraser was the other one who went round the position, and there he is. So he's alongside, so Byrne was 16th already. And so Fraser then making a move on the inside there, actually, of Laura Chung, Daniel Fraser. Great move there. And then his teammate, Jake Galloway, on his debut, sneaks around the inside and takes 16th position. And meanwhile, a collision there at the back between Amelia Wilson and Jamie Griffiths there. And Jamie Griffiths, very lucky not to lose, not to be out of the race. I mean, he almost flipped on his side. And somehow Griffiths gets away without any damage there. He's a very, very lucky man there on his debut. And so this is the onboard. This was Wilson trying to make a move on the inside here. And then there was the contact and spins them round. And then there was Martinez behind. So Wilson, I don't think, got any damage either. But Griffiths, as I said, very, very lucky that he didn't retire on the first lap right there. So this is Laura Chung, Jake Galloway coming into the last corner, and Chung just absolutely cannons into the back of Galloway there, and both drivers go to the pits, so not the start that Galloway or Chung would have wanted. Meanwhile, the two Mercedes have already streaked clear of Roberto Gamma, who's now under pressure from Franco Gamma for third place. Coming into the first corner, Franco Gamma on the inside, and he makes it through. And so now he makes it back into third. Now, can he go after the two Mercedes out front who look pretty fast? Meanwhile, Gamma might get swamped. Roberto Gamma might get swamped by Gal on the inside. And possibly even he's got Moitian behind as well, but he doesn't make it through there. So he's got Gal, he's got Moitian, he's got Kupok, and he's got Roke behind him as well. Willows at the moment in 9th position. De Rosso, who's not had a good start, down to 10th, but he's got a lot of fuel, so that probably explains why he's not doing very well. He's got a gaggle of cars also behind him. And so we're looking, there's Chung at the moment, unfortunately last place, not the start she would have wanted, but at the moment the two Mercedes clear at the front of the field in that stunning black livery. So as they come through the coming through the golf course, is Byrne trying to make a move on Daniel Fraser, and he locks up there, makes a little bit of a mistake. And so he's looking at De Rosso, who's battling, trying to keep Federi behind him. Meanwhile, Gal's under pressure actually from Rella Moitian in the racing point. And, yep, managed to keep the position, but he's now going to have to watch his back as well as checking his front, because, of course, Roberto Gamma is in front. Will Moitian try to make a move to the final corner? The answer is no. Now, coming onto the front straight, this is where a lot of the overtakes are on the circuit. It's not an easy circuit to overtake on, but turn 1 is the main point, the main overtaking spot on this circuit. So here on the inside is Nicholas Gallant, and he's already passed Roberto Gamma into the first corner, so this should be this move done and dusted, and it is. And he's through up into P4, so now Roberto Gamma down to P5. And he's got 3 cars. He's got Moichin, Kupok, and Roke also behind it. So Moichin's already on the inside of Roberto Gamma, and meanwhile Roke trying to pass Kupok behind as well. Moichin is through and passes Roberto Gamma, so now he's down to 6th from 3rd in the space of a lap. So unfortunate there, back to reality for Roberto Gamma after a great start. But as we look now at Franco Lopez leading, and meanwhile Evan Byrne has got past Daniel Fraser for P14 there, and so we're looking through the rest of the world. So the moment Griffith is still in 17th position. Meanwhile, Kupok desperately trying to get on the inside of Roberto Gamma, and Gamma's gone wide and he's through. So Gamma now down to 7th. Now Roke is behind, and Joseph Williams actually has caught back up to this pack in 9th position, having got past De Rosso. He's seemingly got a lot of pace, and Roke trying to get through, coming through the S's section, not going to work, and that's going to allow Joseph Williams behind to possibly try and make a look on the inside into the next corner. Willow's going to try and make the move. Roke not going to let it happen though, and so Roke will keep the position there. So I suppose Roke will need to... Oh, and we've got Martinez, who is out, has lost a wheel, so I think that is... Well, it could have been a mechanical failure, it could have been a crash. But Rosetta Martinez is the first retirement of the season on lap 5, and it was a crash actually, so this is what happened. We'll look at the replay. So it was Dudu Kirby in the other Haas who made contact, tried to make a move on the inside there, and Martinez, he lost part of his wing, and then rejoining the track, I think it must have been. And he does rejoin, and rejoins into the wall. Not very clever there from Martinez. A pretty embarrassing way to retire, to be honest, to become the first retirement, but there we go. And there was the contact there from Dudu Kirby, who tried to make the move and did eventually complete it. And of course Amelia Wilson was able to close right up behind Dudu Kirby. But Martinez will want to try and forget about this race very, very quickly with that mistake alone. Meanwhile, we're looking at Franco Lopez up front at the moment, who's got a 1.7 second lead over Armar Carr in second as we look through the rest of the order. Meanwhile, Willows has actually got past Roke. He's passed Roke on track, and we're about to see how he did that. And so Roke defended into turn 1, and so wasn't able to make it there, so it must have been into the next corner coming through into turn 3. So Willows in the slipstream of the racing point, moves to the inside. Roke does try and defend, but it was too late. Willows was already on the inside, and coming through, there's nearly contact, but Willows manages to make it through with no damage, so they can continue on as they were. Meanwhile, for Derry, who's been stuck behind De Rossa for a few laps now, and is now finally on the inside. Meanwhile, Gomez is passing the Williams of Sontag, and is for Derry to make it through? The answer is no. And does Sontag make it through? I think he did, yes. And well, no, I should say Sontag keeps position from Gomez. Meanwhile, Willows has actually passed Roberto Gamba now, so he's made it up into 7th position. So Roberto Gamba really struggling and falling down the pack now that he has been overtaken. And how they didn't make contact there, I don't know. That was so close. Exactly the same move that he did on Roke there, and somehow no contact was made. If Gamba didn't go as wide as he did, then there would have for sure been contact. But that still leaves George Roke behind to make a move, and he's going to do that right now. Gamba does defend, but I think Roke's going to go for it on the inside, do the Willows move, and he does, and Roberto Gamba is now down to 9th place. And just like that. So meanwhile out front actually, gap was 2 seconds between Carr and Lopez. Meanwhile Byrne in 14th there, in the middle of that gaggle of cars. Meanwhile Wilson trying to get past Dudu Kirby for 80th position there, but unable to do it. Meanwhile we're looking at Federi, who is still stuck behind De Rossa, and Joseph Willows will be pitting this lap actually, and so will Roland Moitin. So a couple of drivers pitting quite early on, it seems. And this is, I mean, it's only lap 10, so it looks like they're going to be doing more than likely doing a 3-stop strategy, as we're looking at Kirby, who is up to 17th. And actually, this is Kirby overtaking Jamie Griffiths in the Williams into turn 1 here. And so Wilson, I think, actually got by as well, I'm pretty sure. So, coming to the first corner, so Wilson got a good run, and then I think it was in the slipstream of Griffiths, who had just been overtaken by Kirby. And so Wilson then made a move on the inside, and I think that's what we just saw in the previous shot. Wilson on the inside, doing the Willows move, and made it through. And meanwhile behind is Jake Galloway, who's caught back up after his pit stop. Meanwhile Roland Moitin, who has had a good start in the racing point coming into the pits, and Willows will be following suit as well. Meanwhile Federi has finally got past De Rossa for 10th. It's taken him a long time, but he has done it. And so was there any there was no contact, fortunately. That was close. Federi does make it through at last. Moitin in the pits, and Willows in the pits as well, so that will mean Kupok will move up to 5th, Roke will move up to 6th, and then the rest of the field will start moving up places. So where will they come out on the circuit? It'll be interesting to see. Of course, they'll have to deal with traffic, depending on, of course, how much traffic. It will depend on how much fuel a lot of the other drivers have put in. Moitin now comes out down in, what position is it? He's down to 9th. Will he be ahead of De Rossa or not? No, he's behind De Rossa. And Sontag's just come across the lines. This could be close. And Moitin is going to be at the pit exit, and just comes out ahead of Sontag. And so Moitin will stay in 10th position. Meanwhile, Sontag's got Gomez behind, who's going to try and make a move in the next corner. And Sontag, although he's going to try and make a move on Moitin, I think, is he going to do it? The answer is no, not quite. But he keeps Gomez, and of course Evan Byrne is behind as well. So Willows actually is quite a few positions further on than Moitin. He's actually behind Dudu Kirby, who I think actually overtook him at turn 3 there. So, and here we go. This was the on board, and Kirby was on the inside. Kirby's actually pitting this lap, so but it's not necessary for Willows, because he would rather that he didn't overtake him there, even for a brief time. Meanwhile, David Kupok is in the pits for Alvatura, because Kupok, who on his debut here last season had an exceptional qualifying session and was running well before I think it was he had a mechanical failure. Meanwhile, Laura Chung has received a 10-second time penalty for causing the incident with Jake Galloway, which is not a surprise whatsoever. I'd be more surprised if she didn't get a penalty for that, really. Meanwhile, Kupok will come out in 8th position, so he'll come out crucially ahead of De Rossa, or will he? Or it will be very close. Will De Rossa go wide? And no, De Rossa actually gets ahead. But Kupok, is he just ahead of Roland Moichin? This is a key battle actually on track. So Moichin could get past Kupok here on the fresher tyres. And Moichin trying desperately to get on the inside. And, oh, he's going to make it stick. He's on the inside. And I thought Kupok had covered him off. But then he just gave him the room there. And he just took it, Moichin. So he's got through there. So Moichin has done the overcut, you could say, on David Kupok there. But yeah, he managed to get through there, so he just gave him all the room. So now Moichin will try and pass De Rossa into the first corner. He's already alongside the pole, and he's now going to slide past him into the first corner, which he does. That was pretty simple there. Now David Kupok will want to get past De Rossa as soon as possible if he wants to keep up with Moichin, and he'll be on slightly fresher tyres than Moichin, so he'll need to get through now. Although De Rossa is not making it easy, but is Kupok going to still go for it? No, De Rossa covers him off. They'll have to wait a little bit longer. Meanwhile, Willows in 15th there. Meanwhile, the two Mercedes at the moment is gap about 2 seconds. Pit call for Wilson. Wilson is in. There was another pit call for somebody else. I couldn't quite see who that was. Oh, it was actually Videri in 7th who's going to be pitting this lap. Meanwhile, we've got a yellow flag out on the circuit. And oh, it's De Rossa. And De Rossa has spun round. And I don't know if it is by himself or if there was contact. But he's going to drop all the way down to 19th, so, and he's on the one stop, so De Rossa, that is effectively his race ruined, really. So was it contact from behind? No, I don't think Kupok made any contact with him. I think that was just a mistake by De Rossa there, so into the corner, and no, that definitely is De Rossa's own mistake there. Kupok just about slips through, and then oof, the Alfa Romeo there of Gomez trying to pass Sontag there, getting a little bit close as he was having a look at passing Sontag, and here there was the replay, of course. There was De Rossa going wide over the grass, over the curb, and spinning right in front of Felix Sontag there, but fortunately Sontag got through it easy, so he's now up into 10th position. Meanwhile, Andrea Federi now into the pits for Alfa Romeo for his first stop of the Grand Prix, and lap 14, so I mean it could be a 2-stop still, maybe a 3, but we'll see as he comes in to the pits. Let's have a look. So he comes in, he'll change all 4 tyres. Here we go. And how much fuel do they put in? And yep, that's definitely going to be a 3-stop strategy with that amount of fuel in. We've got another yellow flag, and oh no, it's Franco Gamba! And well, Franco Gamba is not going to be winning this year, and he retires from the Grand Prix with a puncture as well. And he was going on for a few more laps and running in 3rd position. It didn't look like he was particularly closing on the Mercedes, but he was running a decent race, and unfortunately his race is now run. So he is out of the Grand Prix. Unlucky news for him. So although we could still have the Francos reigning supreme if Lopez can win it here, but as we're looking through the order, so the moment Roke is out, and oh, something has gone wide then. Finally Gomez, who's been stuck behind him for a while, gets past. So it's bound to happen eventually, but it has now happened. Meanwhile, behind, a battle between the McLaren and the Renault there. I think that is Byrne and Willows that's battling there. Willows trying to get through the traffic. It's not really helped him where he's come out with. He's been stuck in traffic and had a tough time trying to get past. Obviously got passed by Kirby and still yet to get by Byrne. And so this is not going to help his strategy at all. So as we look it through, coming through the penultimate corner, not going to make a late lunge. No point. Pit call for somebody there. I couldn't quite see who that was, but someone will be coming to the pits. Like me, or Willows gets, as you can see the difference of the fresh tyres. He gets such a run coming through the final corner there, and he's getting alongside Byrne. This is surely going to be the move for 10th into the first corner. Willows on the inside, and it is not going to happen. No, Byrne keeps it there, but surely Willows will then have a go coming into turn 3. He'll be in the slipstream. He'll make a move to the inside. Will he go for it? He's going to try and go for it. And it's going to be the Willows move on the inside. And can he get it through this time? The answer is no, he can't. Still can't get through. So this is not helping Willows' race at all. Meanwhile, Federi has come up behind Laura Chung. And Jake Galloway there is who's been lapped. But he's very fast. I think he may have just pitted. So he's now trying to unlap himself and gets back past the Mercedes of Lopez there. That won't please him at all. And that'll be good news for Carr, though, who's able to catch back up behind there. So, yeah, again, I don't know, obviously, Galloway pitted, obviously, the first lap because of damage. And I guess he must have pitted pitted again, because otherwise he wouldn't be far behind there, but Galloway unlaps himself, and that won't please Lopez at all. Meanwhile, we're looking at Willows, who's now trying to get past the Renault of Sontag down the front straight. He's alongside the German, and this should be an easy move into the first corner, and he is through. He's now up into 9th position ahead of Sontag, and now Byrne is right behind Sontag as well. He'll make a move along the inside soon, and he's going to do it right now actually. And I think Sontag was pitting this lap, I believe, as Byrne backs off into the corner there. And I was right, yes, so Sontag is in. And meanwhile, Galloway is on the back of De Rossa, who of course is yet to pit. It won't be pitting for a while. He makes a lock up there into the first corner, but of course Galloway now has got the blue flag counter again, so now he'll have to try and get out of the way of the Mercedes. And so De Rossa locks up again on another corner, and on Lopez, who's actually pitting this lap, but he's not going to be happy that these two are battling when Carr is breathing down his neck. And so we'll need to lap these two very quickly, and Galloway will want to get past the McLaren quickly if he wants to not get lapped again, but he is, let's face it, because he's right there, and Lopez is going to go for it, and he's going to lap him round there, and he does. Meanwhile, George Roque is in the pits for Racing Point, and Lopez will be pitting, of course, himself this lap from the lead, but of course, it's good news for Carr behind. It means he'll get through, but of course, he'll have a lot of traffic to deal with. Roque comes out, looks like, and by the way, his fuel is going to be for a 2-stop. That is for certain. So he comes out, it looks like, in P7, I think. And yes, Gomez has not come across the line yet, so it will be P7. Meanwhile, Moichin battling with Roberto Gamba for 4th. And Gamba just about holds him off there. And so there we go. Meanwhile, Verderi, I think, was looking to make a move on the inside there. Lopez now coming up to the back of the McLaren here. And this could be a very risky move if he does it. And he's going to make it through just before the pits. And oh, he has, and that was close. Carr's been held up a bit there as Lopez now comes in, but of course, Carr, is he going to be pitting this lap? Because I mean, Lopez is pitting this lap on that field, so I think Carr is going to be the one that goes for the overcut here. So Lopez now comes in, so this is going to be a crucial stop for him. Meanwhile, Willows has got past Gabriel Gomez in the Alfa Romeo. So Lopez comes in, it will be a 2-stop for him, of course. But the question is, Carr needs to get past those two lapped cars. He needs to get his fade on and past them. He's now going to, is he going to lap De Rossa here? Yep, he's going to go through him on the inside, so he passes him. Fair dues, but I think he might as well just leave Galloway in the distance, really, because if he's that quick, there'll be no point in trying to get in a battle with him. So this is very important for Carr if he wants to lead this race. Lopez comes out, of course, in 3rd position. And Cristo coming ahead of Roberto Gamba, who's yet to pit. Meanwhile, David Kupok on the back of Roberto Gamba. And this was actually Kupok who's passed, actually, Roland Moichin. So forgotten. Oh, that's why. Wow, a big hit and run there. And does Moichin get any damage? No. And we've seen damage, obviously, from Martinez earlier on, so I thought it could have happened again, but no. David Kupok now going to go past Roberto Gamba, surely going towards the first corner. He's on the inside. This should be an easy move for the German. Past the Italian, and yep, he's through up into 4th position. And there we go. So he is through past Roberto Gamba now up into 4th. It's been a good race so far from David Kupok. Performing well, just like he did last year. In qualifying, that is. Meanwhile, Amar Carr is going to be pitting this lap. This is going to be a very important pit stop. We are going to see if Carr is going to do the overcut on Franco Lopez. So he's going to come into the pits now. And we are going to find out who comes out in front. So, will Carr come out ahead of Lopez, or will Lopez stay in front of Carr like he has been for this whole first stint? So, into the pits he is, and he's going to change now. All 4 tyres, he'll be on the 2-stop. Now how much fuel he'll put in? Will he put in more than Lopez? About the same, really. So it's going to be very equal. So where is Lopez? He's just coming around the final corner now, or he's just about to. And this is going to be very, very close, because of course Mercedes is right at the start of the pits, and I think I could just see Lopez. There he is. So I think Lopez might just about still be in front, and yes, he will. So he does stay in front of Amar Carr despite that hold up with the traffic there. So that's important for the 2 Mercedes. It's not a matter of who wins. It is a matter of who wins, but which Mercedes will win is the big question. It looks like, because just no one has the pace that they have. So that is the 2 Mercedes. So let's go in 3rd at the moment. David Kupok in 4th. Roberto Gamma in 5th, but is yet to pit. Gomez in 9th at the moment, but he's pitting. Meanwhile, Daniel Fraser defending hard there from Federi. Laura Chung stuck in the mid-pack, battling with a Manor, and Laura Chung trying to go on the inside of Jamie Griffiths. So Laura Chung stuck behind, stuck between 2 rookies here. As Griffiths really defending hard. And Wilson's going to go around the outside and make the move on Laura Chung there. And what a move that was. I don't think I've ever seen that move around that corner before, but Amelia Wilson on her debut has done it. Fair play to her. Passes her fellow female compatriot there, just goes around the outside. I don't think I've ever seen that before at this track. Fair play to Wilson. She's giving it her all. And so I wonder if she'll be able to try and go after Jamie Griffiths now. But for Laura Chung to get overtaken by a Manor on her a Manor and a driver racing in the Manor on their debut is not a good look. Not a good start to the season you would like, really. But meanwhile, Moichin is closing up to the back of Roberta Gamma. Rogue is at the moment in 7th, who's not too far away from Moichin, so he could close up possibly. We're looking at Chris Chatfield in the AlphaTauri, because he moved from Haas to AlphaTauri. He had a good season, Chris Chatfield, in Haas. Did comfortably beat his teammate Jared Fosbury. I mean, do you remember that guy? And of course, because of that, he moved up to a slightly better team, moved up to AlphaTauri, and then maybe his next route we try and go into Red Bull, trying to go that route maybe. Meanwhile, Wilson on the back of Jamie Griffiths. Is she going to make the move? And the answer is no. Backed up as a little lock up there, so meanwhile Laura Chung has made a mistake and allowed Jake Galloway to go past. It really is a pitiful race for her, and I wonder if there was contact or if Galloway did generally go for a late move. I'm pretty sure there was contact. Was there? Yep, there was contact. Two bits of contact there, and I'm amazed there wasn't any damage there either. But well, I say good move, a very aggressive move there from Galloway. Meanwhile, Amelia Wilson on the back of Griffiths for 14th position, and a lock up there from Griffiths into the first corner. That'll allow Jake Galloway to close back up, and meanwhile I'm pretty sure Laura Chung has just been overtaken behind, and so now Wilson trying on the inside again, unable to do it. Meanwhile, this is Amar Carr, who's actually on the back of Franco Lopez. This is the battle for the lead here, so Carr has caught up to the back of Lopez, who I think has got some traffic ahead of him here. So, and let's see if Carr can make the move on the inside. Now it's gone into the pits, but now Carr's caught up. And Roberto Gamba is off. Roberto Gamba is off, and so is Moichin. He's spun around. Gamba has gone into the wall, so he is out. Moichin has rejoined, but he's got damage. He's missing a part of his front wing, so I think there's been a collision between the two. And this is looking on board from Moichin. Actually, Rogue had caught up as well. So Moichin trying to make a move on the inside of Gamba. A bit of contact there. Moichin spins, and Rogue gets damage as well. And George Rogue has got wing damage as well, and that's just handed the positions actually there to Joseph Willis behind. He's gained 3 positions in the space. He's going to gain 3 positions in the space of a few corners, and Rogue just had nowhere to go there. The innocent bystander in that one, and Roberto Gamma unfortunately is out of the race. Meanwhile, Franco Lopez is still leading, but the car is right behind, so the battle is on for the lead of the race. Meanwhile, I just saw, I think it was Miguel Galway just pitted as well. But now that allows Joseph Willis to go straight up into P5, and that is important for him, of course, with him being on the 3 stop. So Rote will go into the pits, and unfortunately for Relov Moichin, he is going to have to partner behind his teammate in the pits. So yeah, it's not going to be a good thing. So yeah, it's going to be painful for Moichin, and I guess you could say it was his own doing. He tried to move on Roberto Gamba and it just didn't come off. But that's just racing, I guess. You know, you get lucky and sometimes you don't get lucky, really. But meanwhile, we're looking at Roland Moichin, who is going to have to wait for George Roque. And now finishes to stop, but of course Moichin's now going to wait for ages for his crew to then, well, for the next crew to come out for him. Meanwhile, Evan Byrne is in the pits, and he comes out. And yep, there's the crew going away, and then of course the next crew will come out for Moichin, so it's going to be a painful wait for him. Meanwhile, Carr has taken the lead. Hang on, Carr's taken the lead from Lopez, hasn't he? I think he has. And Moichin, well, the gap's now 6 seconds. How is the gap 6 seconds? I don't know. Hopefully we'll see a replay of that. But Carr is now the leader of this race, and I don't know what's happened. but as meanwhile we're looking at Red Emotion finally pitted. So what has happened here? So this was Amar Carr battling with Franco Lopez for the lead of this race, and it's this corner again, and Carr makes the contact there with Lopez, and he just manages to keep the car on the track there, Carr, and he almost lost it, and Franco Lopez went across the grass, and of course there's no wonder that he lost so much time there, but not the way, and he won't be very pleased with that, and neither will Toto Wolff. Get your spare desks ready. And so the two Mercedes collide with each other there. Controversial, as Carr takes the lead of this race. Would you believe it? And of course Australia does throw up a few curveballs. It always does the first race of the season. And so there's Lopez, of course, again rejoining the circuit back on there. And so now I have to try and go back after his teammate Carr. Meanwhile, we're looking on board with the Haas of, I think this is Daniel Fraser, yep, who's on the back of De Rossa, who again has yet to pit and is having it tough out there. And so they're going to be both lapped by Amar Carr pretty soon as well. And look at the rest of the order. I mean, Jake Galloway's actually back up to 12. Considering the fact he lost wing damage at the start, or lost his rear wing, he's had a decent recovery, really. For Derry, I think that's is the moment in 6th place. The blue flag out for De Rossa to get out of the way, actually, because of course he's got through. And so Mercedes, I thought Carr was going to try and make it into the last corner there, but he doesn't. He'll wait until the straight, although he'll go around the outside of the McLaren. It's the slow way around there, but Fraser now might be able to make a move on the inside here into the first corner. This is a pit call for Derry, as I said, who's coming into the pits this lap. I think that was that Wilson, who I think just came in to the pits, as we're looking at Fraser, who doesn't make the move on the inside there. And so we look at Fraser, surely he's going to try and make another move if he's close enough in the slipstream. And no, he's not quite close enough. He's in the slipstream, but has to stay behind him there. Wilson's then just coming out of the pits and just behind Radomojin there. That was close. I mean, Miguel Scow having a very, very lonely race at the moment in 3rd. Not really doing much, but staying out of trouble, which we need to do because a lot of drivers have been caught up in trouble. So as long as he does that, Gal, he's got a safe and assured 3rd place to boot right now. Meanwhile, Evan Byrne is at the moment trying to go past Dudu Kirby, who I don't actually believe if he's pitted or not. And I don't think he has, as far as I can remember. Is he pitted once? I don't know, from memory. I don't believe he has, but of course I'm probably wrong on that one. But anyway, looking at the two battling as Byrne tries yet again to get past the Brazilian. Not going to be able to do it here unless he tried to do a Wilson manoeuvre, which is very rare because I still can't believe Wilson actually managed to pull that move off, to be honest. It was quite something what she did. And so as you look on board with Miguel Scout at the moment, running in their position as we're looking at the Mercedes lapping Fraser there, and Joseph Williams is out. He's got a mechanical failure, and Joseph Williams is going to be out of the race. You see how slow he's going, and he gained so much from the collision between Gamba, Moichin and Roque, but now he's going to get nothing as the car has unfortunately let him down, and for McLaren it's been a torrid day. Of course, De Rossa is still in the race, but not having a very good race at all, really. So, yeah, Willis is out, and that wheel is going back onto the circuit. Lopez hits the wheel, but luckily he has a Guardian Angel and doesn't get any damage from that. So he's a very, very lucky man. There is Franco Lopez. So Willis, who of course had just pitted as well, and was down at 6th place and was ahead of Roque actually. So it was actually going quite well for him, and it was ironically a loose wheel that caused his retirement. And then here was the replay of Lopez hitting the wheel very hard there, and amazingly, and at good speed as well, and amazingly, does not get wing damage from that. So he is a very, very lucky man, is Franco Lopez, and it means he's still in with a shout of winning this race. Meanwhile, Kirby, once again, on the back of De Rossa, and I say Kirby, it's actually Daniel Fraser who's on the back of De Rossa, and he still can't make it through. De Rossa not making it easy for him, and then I don't know why De Rossa's even defending from Fraser, because yeah, it's just pointless really at this moment in time. Meanwhile, Lopez trying to get past the traffic, lapping Laura Chung down in 13th place, having a really torrid time of it at this moment in time. And so Lopez finally gets past, and now he'll go after the Williams in front of Jamie Griffiths. No, sorry, it's not Jamie Griffiths, it's Felix Sontag, I should say, in front. And meanwhile, Chung did also have a little lock-up into the first corner there. And, yeah, so it's again, Laura Chung is just having the worst race, one of her worst races, really. I mean, Brazil was the peak of it, really. I mean, last season it was the fact that she would do very well. She would do very well one race, and the next race have an absolute stinker. And it looks like that will probably continue this season at this moment in time. Meanwhile, we're looking at Evan Byrne at the moment in 8th position. He's got Federi behind. And Chris Chatfield actually still in 6th position, who I don't know if he stopped yet, Chatfield, because I don't think he was particularly anywhere. And we've got a yellow flag out, and actually, and Daniel Fraser is out. Daniel Fraser, on his debut, is out of the race, and it is a mechanical failure. It looks like suspension problem for Fraser. And he was running in 14th. He was running behind Sontag. He was actually trying to attack Sontag for the position, and then suspension then goes on him just as he tries to make the move on Sontag there. Quite unfortunate. And that is another retirement. So Daniel Fraser out of this race, so that is another debut out of the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Federi trying to get past Chatfield, but of course has Byrne behind him. He's got to be careful with what he does here. So at the moment in time, that means there's 6 cars out of this race. And so as we're looking through, as Federi trying to make a move on the inside of Chris Chatfield into the first corner, and finally does it. Chatfield locks up. Locks up quite badly there. That was quite a lock up there, you could say. And now Lopez trying to lap the whole field. Of course, Lopez is at the back of this, trying to see if Card. And Chatfield goes off. And Chatfield goes off, so that's one less car for the two Mercedes, both Car and Lopez, to deal with there. And yeah, so Chatfield, who was doing quite a good job, and again, I don't believe he actually has pitted Chatfield, unless he's pitted once, I just don't remember, but he makes a mistake there, runs wide, and yeah, loses a number of positions, but at least that's for Car and Lopez, that one less lap car to deal with now. Meanwhile, Laura Chung battling with Jamie Griffiths. This is for 10th place, and Gao goes on the inside and makes contact with Griffiths and damages his front wing, and Chung is through, passes Griffiths for 10th, and Miklas Gao has to change his front wing after that. And amazingly, again, Jamie Griffiths, I don't know, his car must be made of titanium. Somehow his car is withstanding from another hefty impact, this time from Miklas Gao, who pits, but I don't think it's going to matter too much for Gao, because I'm pretty sure he's well clear of the rest of the pack, and I've no idea how far behind Kubak is, but I'm pretty sure he's not really, I don't think, even close. But this was the replay, of course. We've seen, of course, this move done at this corner many times before. Australia 2009, anybody? And you can see Gao makes a hefty contact there, and goes into the other wheel as well of Griffiths, who also somehow gets away with no damage whatsoever. He is a very, very lucky man, Griffiths. It must be the dragon on the Welsh flag, something like that. But see, there's got. I mean, look at how hard he goes into Gao, and again, he makes contact for the 3rd time there. So, but Gao will come out of the pits. It looks like he'll still come out in 3rd position, and yes, he does, and he'll come out hopefully in 3rd. Meanwhile, we're looking at this gaggle of cars at the back of the field. Jake Galloway actually going past De Rossa down the front straight very easily. Meanwhile, Moichin going past Sontag into the first corner for 12th position, and he does. And I don't know if Galloway, did he make the move stick? Yes, he did. On the McLaren there of De Rossa. And now, meanwhile, this is the Manor trying to overtake the Williams here, and very nearly contact there. Not quite there, but this is Wilson, who was trying to get past Sontag there, but now he'll have Jake Galloway behind. Meanwhile, the Haas of Dudu Kirby trying to go past the McLaren of De Rossa behind. There's movements everywhere. The Williams of Williams moving. There's contact. The Williams moving about all over the place down the front straight there. Sontag really weaving about, and Wilson goes into the back of him, and now De Rossa actually is finally going to pit, I think, for the first time, as he's going to try and go past Jake Galloway. For 14th, he's on the inside, and and Galloway is out, and that's the 3rd debut out of the race. And De Rossa now, just to compound his misery, he was going to pit anyway, but unfortunately he has just completely annihilated Jake Galloway out of this race, and that was a huge accident. My word, another retirement from this Grand Prix, and you've got to feel for Jake Galloway. And De Rossa, I would imagine he is probably going to get a penalty for that. As that was quite a aggressive move. Well, we've seen a few of them happen. But De Rossa was the first one who was unable to make it work. And yep, there it was. There was the contact. So De Rossa, he didn't need to do it. He was pitting this lap, but he was desperate because he was sick and tired of being probably the slowest car on track. Was on the inside there, and there was the contact. And De Rossa goes wide and actually loses the position actually to the Haas there of Dudu Kirby. And there's the replay from Kirby's point of view, and managed to go past him there as well. And meanwhile, Wilson once again trying to go past there, but then the McLaren of De Rossa now going to the pits, and there's Gowell who's just about to lap these guys. At the moment, actually, George Roque still in P5, despite that having to make that pit stop to change that front wing. It looks like he still might get a pretty good result from this race. But Griffiths will be frustrated, I think, to lose the position to Chung the way that he did, because in fact he's still in with a decent shout of points. Meanwhile, Wilson defending hard from Kirby behind, and now Gao will be going up to lap them. We're looking at the two Mercedes, the gap again coming down, so Lopez closing the gap to Carr, and now just about a second and a half. Meanwhile, Gao going to go around the outside of Kirby, and oh, Roque goes around at the first corner there. He spins. I don't know if that was an error of his own making, or if what happened there, or if it was the pit exit. And oh, it was a car at the pit exit, so that explains it. We haven't actually had too many of them so far this season, but that was the McLaren of De Rossa, who had just come out of the pits, who unfortunately puts Roque off and he spins. But fortunately for Roque, I think he'll still be he'll still keep that 5th position. Meanwhile, Wilson is on the back of Sontag coming into the first corner. Will Wilson finally be able to make the move on the inside? And the answer is yes. Wilson moves up into 11th position. Been a decent race by Wilson in her first Grand Prix. Of course, she did that fantastic move around her fellow female driver, Chung. It was probably one of the best moves I think I've seen. It's only been the first race. Speaking of Chung, she's trying to get past Kirby for 13th and unable to do so. And they're about to be lapped by the AlphaTauri of Kupok, who's just coming around the corner there. So that will be happening pretty soon. So again, Chung just having a terrible race in the mid-pack as the blue flag once again comes up. But at the moment, Gao is, how far is he ahead? Still about 13 seconds. He'll be pitting once more, actually, will Miglas Gao, but he'll still comfortably finish ahead of David Kupok and finish in a very comfortable 3rd position as well, you would imagine. But of course, there's still just under 20 laps to go, so anything can happen. So Laura Chung on the back of Kirby here on the straight. Kirby takes an unusual line there, jinks to the left, then back to the right onto the normal line. Coming onto the little straight here, she's in the slipstream, but I don't think she's going to be close enough to Kirby. You got Kirby actually on the back of Wilson in front. And yep, there we go. Right. So as we look at Chatfield in the pits, I think Chatfield, I'm pretty sure this is his only stop, I think. And Kirby on the back of the Williams of Sontag. It was passed by, of course, Amelia Wilson. And Chung tried it there into the final corner, but unable to do it. You can see how far Wilson's actually got off into the distance now that she's passed. Now that she's passed him. And then meanwhile, Dudu Kirby now finally on the inside, making a move on Felix Sontag into the first corner. Has he done it? The answer is so. It's still side by side actually between the two. And meanwhile, Kupok coming out to lap them. So will Kirby get by? And the answer is, I think he will. Yes, does get past Felix Sontag, and now Kupok is there to try and lap these guys. So he's lapped Chung, now will lap Felix Sontag. So Kirby got through at the perfect time there. And so Wilson got through at an even better time earlier on. So there we go. And Laura Chung still unable to move up a position in all this. But she might finally be able to get past Felix Sontag here, if she can possibly do it. And so Chung going to try and make a move on the inside here. Nope, Sontag defends. And yep, still unable to make the decision. There's De Rossa at the moment running of course in last position in 16th. And yep, for him it's been a pretty torrid race. One stop not helping him out at all. And as we're looking at Laura Chung, who's on the back of Sontag, and finally will she be able to make a move on the German? You're going to try and make a move to the right there, and nope, not able to do it. And so will Chung be able to make it through there? Nope, have to wait until the front straight to make the move. And so Chung behind the Williams Sontag now. Surely no, she gets a bad run once again through that corner. It's just coming to the prospect corner, gets a bad run and unable to get enough, although she might just about be close to Sontag. She's in the slipstream, although it might be a little bit late to make a move. Sontag moves to the right to prevent Chung from trying anything there. And oh, Q-Puck is around. David Q-Puck is around, and that was the Force India there, or I should say the Racing Point. I think of Renamoitin, who just come out of the pit, so David Q-Puck is a victim of the pit exit there. He rejoins, but fortunately it won't affect him. He'll still stay in 4th position, which of course is good news for him, but that was very unlucky there for Q-Puck. Happened to, of course, to George Roke earlier on, and ironically, of course, it was actually a Racing Point that did it Renamoitin, with Roke now being able to close up closer behind Q-Puck, so you could say, you know, interesting tactics or something like that. But Carr now comes into the pits for his final stop of the race. Lopez will take the lead, of course. Now Carr, who's taken the lead from Lopez after that very, very aggressive move that will no doubt see some words exchanged, probably after the race. Meanwhile, Evan Byrne is now into the pits as well for his final stop for Renault. I think it looks like Byrne is still going to get some points. I don't think he's not had a particularly stunning race, Byrne, but it looks like he'll still get some points out of it. So Carr comes out, and so he'll come out still in a couple of seconds, so he won't come out in any traffic actually, which is important for him, because I would imagine Lopez is going to be pitting next lap, because they're on very similar fuel, as meanwhile Gal there comes out just behind Carr, so it's crucial there actually that Carr gets ahead of Gal, though will Gal try and make a move on the inside here into the corner, and I don't think Carr's going to let that happen, which he doesn't, and because if Carr let that happen, then that was an open invitation to Lopez to jump him there, so that is crucial for Carr. Meanwhile, Dudu Kirby now overtaking Wilson, or trying to overtake her for 10th, the final point spot, unable to do it, and Renamoitin is right behind these two as well. Dudu Kirby actually going to be pitting this lap for his final stop as well. Moitin is going to the end, so he doesn't need to worry about it. I don't know if Wilson's pitting again, and yes, actually she will be. So Moitin is going to be guaranteed 10th position, so he'll still actually get 10th, will Renamoitin, which I think will be pretty happy with. Meanwhile, Griffiths overtaking Chung on the inside, and he's done it. And and Chung might even get overtaken by De Rossa as well. And and De Rossa has gone through as he. Nope, Chung is going to hold it around the outside, and she keeps the position. Now that would have been embarrassing, letting De Rossa through, despite the fact how bad he's been in this race. And Franco Lopez now comes in for his first, for his final pit stop, I should say. And so here we go, and De Rossa receives a 20-second time penalty for causing the incident with Jake Galloway. So Galloway who unfortunately is now out of the race thanks to De Rossa, so it's pretty much not really any penalty. But Carr crucially is ahead, and importantly, will Lopez get ahead of Gal coming into the first corner? And Gal goes off, and Gal gets damaged. Gal loses his wing there, and Lopez will still come out in second there, but Miklos Gal loses part of his front wing there and will have to pit again. So hopefully that doesn't mean he'll lose his P3, which he was guaranteed to have. So Gal's been quite unlucky here. I reckon if he didn't have that first bit of damage earlier on, he could have definitely maybe even been in a battle for the win, possibly. But nonetheless, he's got to pit again. I don't know how far Q-Puck is behind. And he's about 40 seconds actually, so Gal will comfortably, when he comes to the pits, will still be in 3rd position, as I said, so he doesn't need to worry. Meanwhile, Griffiths battling his teammate Sontag. This is for 12th. And so Laura Chung just behind as well. In 14th with De Rossa just behind him, 15th. George Roke in the pits for his final stop of the race. And trying to make a move on the inside there, no. And De Rossa trying it on Chung as well, but unable to do it. Lots of battles still happening in this race. It's been a pretty entertaining race. For Australia, it's been pretty good, you have to say, so far. Been lots of action all around. But David Q-Puck, who at the moment is running in 4th, but he will have to pit once more. So Roku has just pitted. I don't know if he was ahead or not, but I think that could mean that Roke might actually get P4 on this race. Griffiths try again on the inside of Sontag, but failing. De Rossa now trying on the inside of Chung and failing. And so Griffiths now once again in the slipstream of Sontag, not able to make the move. He's not going to go around the outside there. De Rossa going to try exactly the same thing, and just about going through the wall there was Jamie Griffiths trying to overtake Sontag. That's how desperate he is to try and make it past his teammate, trying to lay down a marker ahead of him, ahead of the season, and once again tries it. And meanwhile, De Rossa is going to sneak through, I think, on the inside. There's so nearly contact, but De Rossa just about manages to get through there. How there wasn't contact there, I have no idea. That was unbelievably close. And so De Rossa launched it down the inside, and Oh, that is living life on the edge there. So he made it through, so good job there. Meanwhile, Felix Sontag now comes in for his final stop of the race. And you could probably say he has been outperformed by his teammate Griffiths at the moment. Has done a decent job on his debut race, Griffiths. Meanwhile, David Kupok will now come in for his final stop of the race. And he is ahead of Roke, but I think Roke's going to be ahead because I think the gap's about just over 20 seconds, 22 I think it was. I don't think that's enough for Kupok to stay ahead, but he could still, of course, catch up with Roke toward the end of the race. But Kupok has had a very exceptional race, you have to say, done very well this season. Australia seems to be his race. He seems to always do well here. So Roke's just coming around the final corner now, so yeah, Kupok, who's just coming out of his pit box now, and I think Roke's just going across the line, so Roke I think will crucially be in front, and yep, there we go, so Roke is in front, but Kupok will catch up to him towards the end, so I wonder if there'll be a battle for P4 at the end of the race. You never know what's going to happen there. Roke has got traffic to deal with, but Kupok comes up in a very comfortable P5, and there's Carr at the moment who's leading the gap to Lopez about 4 seconds, and Lopez has got traffic to deal with. He's got Federi in 6th position to get by at this moment in time. Meanwhile, we're looking now on board. This is with Gabriel Gomez, who is behind. He's behind Chris Chatfield. He will be once the Red Bull goes past him, and Chatfield locks up there. And Gomez is going to try and go around the outside, and yes, he is. So Gomez goes around the outside, takes advantage of that mistake there by Chatfield, and takes 8th position. A great move there by Gomez, the Brazilian. That was that was just very good. I mean, took advantage there, and I don't think that definitely caught Chatfield out by surprise, that's for sure. So good job there by Gabriel Gomez. Great move with just 4 laps to go. He takes 8 and will take some extra points on the board there. Chatfield, who looks like on one side, is going to get a 9th position. We are now on the final lap of the race. The race is still not over because Lopez is closing up, and crucially there is traffic ahead for Carr to deal with. So Lopez could still catch up if they hold each other up enough. And will Carr get past these two drivers, Chung and De Rosa, very easily? And Lopez is closing up. It's now down to 1.3 from 1.7. Lopez is just about there as they're coming through, heading towards the back straight. He'll have a go. De Rosa's defending from Chung, and Carr does go down the inside, crucially, of the Ferrari of Chung, and that might be enough because I don't think Lopez is close enough. And it needs a kind of a bit of a miracle now, Lopez, for it to happen. But Carr's going to now lap De Rosa. And yep, I think that is probably going to be it, because now Lopez only just coming onto the back of Laura Chung. But Amar Carr is set to win this race in a controversial fashion, you would say, of course, with that bump and run on his teammate Lopez, who had been leading for the entire first stint. But for Mercedes, overall, it's been a very, very dominant performance, and they're laying down a marker for the season. So Amar Carr coming around to the final corner is set to take victory in the first race of the 2020 OC season, and Amar Carr wins the Australian Grand Prix. Comes across the line, he wins. Lopez second. He'll probably have some words to say. Looking through the rest of the order there. Wilson in 15th. Probably would have wished that she was higher there, because I think she had a fairly decent race, really. But Sontag will come across the line in 16th place, although I think there's a few penalties actually to be applied, so I don't think he'll be last. Federi in 6th. He'll be pretty happy with that. Byrne, kind of out of nowhere, really, gets 7th. Nicholas Gal will take P3. He'll be very happy with that. Unlucky with a couple of the wing damage. I think he probably could have been within a shout of maybe vaguely winning this race, maybe. But 3rd, he'll still be pretty happy with that. As we're looking at Gabriel Gomez, who had made that great move around the outside of Chris Chatfield to take 8th with 4 laps to go. Chatfield will come across the line in 9th, and then Roland Moitin will take the last point in 10th, of course, after having that collision with Roberto Gamma earlier on. Meanwhile, George Roke in the other Racing Point had to take P4, a great start of the season for him. And generally, Racing Point, as shown in testing, have been very quick, and they maybe disappointed a little bit in qualifying, but nonetheless, Roke's had a good race, shown some really good pace, and P4 is the best he was going to get from this race, and he's going to come across the line and take it. P4 for him, and behind David Kupok, a fantastic race for him. Probably will be annoyed he didn't get P4 himself, but P5 is still very respectable for him. Meanwhile, Jamie Griffiths in 11th position, a pretty respectable race from him on his debut as well. So that is race over. We'll now take a look at the race results and the constructor standings. So Amarcar winning ahead of his teammate, of course, Franco Lopez. Miguel Scal third, George Ricky fourth, David Kupok fifth, the last car on the lead lap, with Andrea Federi, Evan Byrne, Gabriel Gomez, Chris Chatfield, and Renaud Moitin completing the rest of the top 10 and the rest of the points. Jamie Greer is in 11th position. Franco Lopez gets the extra point, at least for fastest lap, so I guess that is something for him. Dudu Kirby up to 12th, Wilson up to 13th, Chung down to 14th with her penalty for hitting Galloway. Sontag 15th, moving up ahead of De Rossa, who of course had that penalty for killing Jake Galloway. Daniel Fraser, Joseph Willows, Roberto Gamba, Frankie Gamba, and Rosetta Martins with the other retirements from this race. So now the driver's standings, of course, Amarcar leading ahead of Franco Lopez in second, 19 points. Franco Lopez gets, of course, already 18 but 19 with the fastest lap point. Gallon third, Roke fourth, Kupok, Derry, Byrne, going with Chatfield and Moitian, completing the rest of the top 10, of course, and the rest of those as follows. Griffiths in 11th, and through the rest of the order, of course, it's Kirby in 12th, Wilson, Chung, Sontag, and Ross, and of course Galloway, Razor Willows, Gamba, and Martinez, who have yet to, of course, finish a race this season. But of course, it's only been one race, so they are going to finish races. But now we'll take a look finally at the constructors' standings and the driver of the day as well after Australia. And so Mercedes currently have a very, very comfortable lead, almost 40 points ahead of Red Bull in second, Racing Point third, AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo tied for fourth place. Renault in sixth on 6 points, with Williams, Haas, Manor, Ferrari and McLaren unbelievably last with 0 points. But of course it has just been one race. The driver of the day was given to Andrea Federi. Actually, I thought it would have been given to Kupok, but Federi gets it for a decent performance as well in the Alfa Romeo, so well done to him. So yeah, that was the first race of the season in the Australian Grand Prix. Very entertaining race. Don't forget to, as usual, check out our links in the description, check out our Twitter, join our Discord, check out our Wikipedia page. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you for the next round, the Bahrain Grand Prix at the Bahrain International Circuit. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you then.